Check. There we go. We're going to get it done before then. Good afternoon. Thank you, and welcome to the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission meeting for Thursday, December 4th. My name is Brian Fry, and I am the chairperson. And it looks like only Bob got the memo about coordinating colored shirts today, so thank you, Bob. Appreciate everyone being here. Our first item is opening announcements. Mr. Wadle.
Yes, sir. I believe we'll get those going.
Before we begin the agenda, the Wichita-Sedgwick County Metropolitan Area Planning Commission and the Wichita-Sedgwick County Board of Zoning Appeals would like to take this opportunity to welcome everyone to this public hearing. For those in attendance, copies of the agenda for today's meeting, the public hearing procedure, and planning department staff reports on all agenda items are available in the lobby. The Planning Commission's and the BZA's bylaws limit the applicant on a zoning, subdivision, or variance application and his or her representatives to a total of 10 minutes of speaking time at the start of the hearing on that item, plus up to 2 minutes at the conclusion of that hearing. All other persons wishing to speak on agenda items are limited to 3 minutes per person. However, if they feel that it is needed and justified, the chairman may extend these times by up to 2 minutes. All speakers are requested to state his or her name and address for the record when beginning to speak. When you are finished speaking, please share your name, address, and the case number on the sheet provided in the room. This will enable staff to notify you if there are any additional proceedings concerning that item. All speakers at the podium, please remove your face mask before speaking into the microphone. Please note that all written and visual materials you present to the commission and the board will be retained by the secretary as part of the official record. If you are not speaking, but you wish to be notified about future proceedings on a particular case, please provide your contact information to the Planning Department. The Planning Commission and the Board are interested in hearing the views of all persons who wish to express themselves on all the agenda items. However, we ask that all speakers please be as courteous and concise as possible and avoid long repetitions of facts or opinions which have already been stated. For your information, the Wichita City Council has adopted a policy for all city zoning items. A copy of this policy is available from the planning staff. The City Council relies on a written record of the Planning Commission hearings and does not conduct its own additional public hearings on these items. The decision of the BZA is final. Any appeal of a decision of the BZA is to the district court.
All right, our next item is 1.2, which is roll call of commission members present. Mr. Wadle?
Yes, sir. Fry.
Present.
Mader. Here. McKay is absent. Dool. Here. Bill Johnson.
Present.
Hi. Present. Mr. Nix is not present. Klontz. Here. Warren is absent. Joe Johnson is absent. Miles.
Present.
Zimbelman. Here. Aldridge.
Here.
Williams Bay. I show 10 members present.
All right, thank you, sir. Next item is 1.3, which is the approval of the MAPC meeting minutes from November 13th. I show Commissioner Bill Johnson was absent.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Williams Bay with a second by Commissioner Miles. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. With one abstention, Mr. Bill Johnson. Our next item is 1.4. This is determination of the MAPC consent items. For our audience, we will go through the agenda and list each case to see if we can hear them on consent or if we'll need to hear them. So our first item is consideration of subdivision committee 2.1 sub 2025-44 This is a one-step final plat of the Young East Edition. There is a staff update on that, so we will hear that just briefly. Item 2.2, subdivision 2025-59, one-step final plat of the Northgate 7th Edition, which is North Meridian Avenue and West 53rd Street North. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Item 2.2, subdivision 2025-59. It's a one-step final plat. Okay. Seeing no one from the public wishing to hear that case, I move that we move item 2.2 to consent. I have a motion and with a second by Commissioner Miles. Yes, sir.
With item 2.1, though there's a staff update, we should probably see if there's any public comment to see if the whole case has to be heard instead of just a staff update.
I was going to do that when we heard the staff
Okay,
update.
just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, no, I was going to make sure that there would be an opportunity for that during the staff update. Did you have a question, Mr. Wadle? You will have that opportunity. So we have a motion to approve 2.2 on consent. It's been properly seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Public hearing vacation items. Item 3.1, vacation 2025-38. This is deferred to December 18th, so we will not hear that case today. Item 3.2, vacation 2025-48. This is a vacation request in the city for property in LC, South Julia Street, and West Taft Avenue. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 3.2 to consent. Item 3.3, vacation 2025-49. A property zoned RR, North Maze Road and West 53rd Street North. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 3.3 to consent. Item 3.4, vacation 2025-50. This is for utility easement, roughly North Greenwich Road and East 29th Street North. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 3.4 to consent. Item 3.5, vacation 2025-51. This is for joint access easement, generally at North Greenwich Road and East Central Avenue. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 3.5 to consent.
Move to approve agenda item 3.2, 3.3, 3.4, and 3.5.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Miles with a second by Commissioner Williams-Bay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Now for the public hearing items. Item 4.1, conditional use 2025-144 for an accessory apartment roughly at South Osage and West 29th Street South. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 4.1 to consent. Item 4.2, conditional use 2025-148 to allow oil and gas drilling in an RR district, roughly West 63rd Street South and South Seneca Street. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Do I see a hand in the back? Okay, is the applicant agent present for this case? You are here? Okay, great. So we will hear item 4.2. Item 4.3, conditional use 2025-149 for an accessory apartment in a TF3 district, North Estelle Avenue and 13th Street North. Are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Or from the commission? Sorry, I got ahead of myself. From the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 4.3 to consent. Item 4.4, conditional use 2025-151 to allow utility in an SF5 district for a groundwater treatment facility, North Arkansas Avenue and West 53rd Street North. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? I see one here, one there. Is the applicant or agent available for this case? Good. All right, so we will hear item 4.4. Item 4.5, conditional use 2025-152 to allow vehicle storage yard in an RR district, South Grove and East 79th Street South. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we can move item 4.5 to consent. Item 4.6, conditional use 2025-155 to allow a single recreational vehicle campground on RR District, roughly 71st Street South and South 71st Street West. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? I see one here. And are you the applicant or agent for it? Okay. Is the applicant or agent present for this case? They're here? Okay, good. We will hear case 4.6. Case 4.7, PUD 2025-23. This is a zone change request from SF5 to PUD, North Amadon Avenue and West 29th Street North. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? And are you the applicant agent? So there's no members public, you're still wanting to have it heard? Okay. Got it. Thank you. We will hear case 4.7. Case 4.8, PUD 2025-25, a zone change to replace an existing PUD with a new PUD, generally located at North Greenwich Avenue and East 37th Street North. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 4.8 to consent. Item 4.9, Zone 2025-53. This is a zone change request from RR to LI, approximately East 45th Street North and North Greenwich Road. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 4.9 to consent. Item 4.10 or 410, Zone 2025-54. This is a zone change request in the county from SF 20 to MF 29, roughly North Broadway and West 69th Street North. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? I see a couple of raised hands. Is the applicant or agent present for this case? All right. We will hear item 410. Our last one is 411, Zone 2025-55, zone change request in the city from SF5 to TF3, roughly 29th Street North, and North 143rd Street East. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? We have one in the back over here. Is the applicant agent present for this case? All right, so we will hear item 411. Hopefully someone was keeping good track. I know Cindy is.
I move to approve agenda item 4-1, 4-3, 4-5, 4-8, 4-9.
That's all of them, and that is a great motion, correct motion, thank you. And we have a second from Commissioner High. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. So all of those items that were approved on consent, if you're here for that, you can leave. Otherwise, stick around. The fun is just beginning. Our next item is 1.5, where we recess to the BZA agenda. And gotta find it real quick. All right. So the first item of agenda for the BZA, Board of Zoning Appeals, is the approval of the BZA meeting minutes from November 13th. And I show Commissioner Bill Johnson was absent. We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Williams-Bay with a second by Commissioner High. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously with one abstention. Item 2 is BZA 2025-75. This is a variance request in the city for a front setback. The staff recommendation says that it does meet all 5 criteria. So unless there is public comment, let me check first. Is there any public comment on this case? Sir, are you the applicant or agent?
Sorry, wrong one.
Wrong one? Okay. So no public comment on this case. This is BZA, Board of Zoning Appeals, 2025-75.
And it's at 1313 South Young Street.
Still no public comment? Okay. So with that being said, I'll move on to the next one. Does anyone on the commission want to hear this case? I checked with the public first, but I want to make sure that, okay, seeing none, we can move that to consent. Item 3 is BZA 2025-76. Because staff is recommending that it does not meet the 5 criteria, we will hear that case. So let me back up and we'll vote on item 2.
Motion to approve BZA 2025-0075. Second.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Aldrich with a second by Commissioner Dool. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously.
I'd also like to add that in the motion that it does meet all 5 of the criterias.
Thank you. That's good, especially since we have 2 substitute legal counsel today. You know, just breaking you in. I'm sorry about that. All right, Philip, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so this is BZA 2025-76, which is a variance request to reduce a front setback from 25 feet down to 8 feet at a property located at 5310 North Athenian Avenue. Property is zoned single-family residential, and it is developed with a single-family home and a detached garage. The applicant is requesting a variance to reduce the front setback, which is along North Athenian, from 25 feet down to 8 feet in order to construct an attached garage. The 0.49 acre property, as I mentioned before, is single-family residential and is located about within 2 blocks south of West 53rd Street on the east side of North Athenian. If you want to go to the site plan, and there's like an elevation in there. There we go. So go back to the site plan, please. There you go. This is the house, and they're wanting to construct a single-car garage and attach it to the northwest portion of the house. North is facing to the left in this image. And the property sits or the house sits about 32 feet from the property line, so they actually have some buildable area in front of their house for an attached structure, but not enough before they start encroaching into the setback. To fit the 24-foot by 14-foot wide garage, they would need a reduction down, and there would be a remaining 8 feet of front setback from the front of the garage to the front property line. So it'd be a total setback reduction of 17 feet. The only amount of administrative adjustment we can do to front setback is 20%, which would go from 25 feet down to 20, which is not enough for the desired garage that they are looking for. All the properties surrounding it are zoned SF5 and developed with single-family homes as well. So let's get into the 5 criteria. The very first one is the request is unique to this property and was not created by the applicant. The applicant states that the variance request arises due to a condition not created by the property owner. The home does not have an attached garage, and the setback runs in the middle of the front of the property. Staff does not agree with the statement. The front setback is applied uniformly to all properties within the SF5 district. Though the dwelling was not constructed with an attached garage, it has a detached garage in the rear of the property that does conform to all applicable setbacks. All surrounding dwellings with attached garages conform to the front setback standard in the SF5 district. If the current property owner is not the original builder of the dwelling, the purchase of the property knowing that it did not have an attached garage. Purchasing a dwelling without an attached garage is a situation created by the applicant. Number 2, granting of the variance will not adversely affect the rights of adjacent property owners. The applicant states this variance will not affect the rights of adjacent property owners. It is to add a small 14-foot by 25-foot deep or 24-foot deep garage in front of the home where a parking driveway currently is located. The home is located on a corner lot. The property owner to the north and west will not be affected. The current setback runs almost through the center of the front of the property. The garage in question is 24 feet deep from the current home and will be 27 feet from the street. Clarification, 27 feet from the actual pavement in the street. It is still would only be 8 feet from the property line. Staff does not agree with the statement. Though the proposed garage would be 27 feet from the pavement of North Athenian, it would have a negative impact, visual impacts on nearby property owners. Adding a garage to the front of the dwelling is out of character with the other dwellings along North Athenian. From West 51st Street North to West 53rd Street North, all dwellings, garages are either detached and behind the structure, which is what the current site has, or if they are attached to the dwelling, they are in line with the front of the house and do not project in front of it. Criteria number 3, the strict application of the code would constitute an unnecessary hardship on the applicant. The applicant states, homeowner is seeking this variance so that they may add an attached garage to the home that did not have one before. This will allow easier access to the entry of the home, as both the homeowner and his wife are elderly in their 70s, and the wife has knee issues that limit her ability to go upstairs and walk from the existing carport in the back of the home. Staff disagrees with this statement. The subject side has ample space to construct a small attached or detached garage on the rear of the dwelling, utilizing the existing driveways without altering setback standards. The garage could be placed in closer proximity to the residence than the existing 2-car garage to achieve the desired access as the proposed garage would. The parking pad on the front of the house can still be utilized for parking a vehicle to access the front of the house as it is outside the front setback. Number 4, the variance will not adversely affect the public health, safety, morals, order, convenience, prosperity, general welfare, or harmonious development of the community. The applicant states this variance will not adversely affect these items. The variance is to change the setback down to 8 feet to allow a small attached garage to the home. Staff does not agree with the statement. The front setback is applied uniformly to all properties within the SF5 district. Though the dwelling was not constructed with an attached garage, it has a detached garage in the rear of the property that conforms to all applicable development standards. All surrounding dwellings with attached garages conform to the front setback in the SF5 district, and reducing the front setback to 8 feet, which is a 68% reduction, does not promote harmonious development of the community. Number 5, granting of the variance would not be opposed to the general spirit and intent of the code. The applicant states, granting this variance desired will not be opposed to the general spirit and intent of the applicable code, as we are only seeking to add a garage to the existing home that did not previously have one in place of a current drive. Staff also does not agree with this statement. The front setback is applied uniformly. Fairly similar to what we just said on number 4. Essentially, the spirit and intent of the code is to promote harmonious development with specified development standards and does not guarantee that all dwellings within a zone district have the same amenities, meaning an attached garage. So overall, staff does not find that the 5 criteria are met. However, the alternative is if the board today does determine that all 5 criteria are met, the variance, staff recommends several conditions that if the setback is reduced from 25 feet down to 8 feet, that the following conditions are applied. That the site would be developed with general conformance to the site plan, which is you see on the screen. The applicant shall obtain all building permit within 1 year of the variance approval. The site shall conform to all codes, including but not limited to zoning, building, health, and fire. And the setback reduction would apply only to the 8-foot west front setback for the attached garage as illustrated in the site plan. All other structures and additions to the subject property would conform to all setbacks by the Unified Zoning Code unless a separate zoning adjustment or variance is granted. So essentially, if it's reduced, it would only be reduced in this area. We can go through the other images. Go to aerial, please. Oh, we can just jump to the side picture. So this is looking east toward the property. This is the parking pad in question that they look to attach the garage in this area of the house. Next picture. This is looking southwest away from the site, still along Athenian. Next picture. This is looking northwest away from the site, again along Athenian. Next picture. This is looking south. I believe this is 52nd Street. This is the property to the south of the subject site. Next picture. And here's the aerial. Just for reference, there's a house, the garage would be here. This is the detached garage along the street, and they have driveway access from Athenian, and I believe there's a short driveway even off of 52nd Street. And with that, I can stand for any questions.
All right, thank you, Philip. Commissioner Miles.
So Philip, I'm curious, looking at the picture of this house, it looks like at one point in time, it actually had a garage that was attached and maybe has been converted, because that's pretty common when you have something sitting in front of the driveway the way it is. 8 foot just seems like a pretty small setback. And do you know whether that was previously a garage?
I don't know. I can defer to the applicant to see if they
Okay,
know
thank
if it
you.
was a garage.
Commissioner Aldrich.
Yep, Philip, just also, I'd like to check as far as utilities. Are there any utilities that would cause an issue if this was approved?
Typically, no. Typically, utilities are in the street right-of-way between the property line and the actual surface of the street. If it is approved and there are service lines or things, they would have to work with the utility companies on modifying those. When it comes to public utilities, there's typically water in the front, and I believe this area does not have public sewer. I believe it's all on-site sewer in this area, but that would have to be dealt with at the time of building permit, that if they would have to move any private utilities service lines to their house.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next question, whether they're on septic or not there. Okay, thank you.
All right, any more questions for staff? Seeing none, thank you, Philip. We'll now ask the applicant and/or agent to come forward. Please identify yourself, your role in the case, and give us your address, and you will have up to 10 minutes.
My name is Eric Johnson. I'm the owner and applicant of 5310 North Athenian. I have and Keith Raines, contractor, is who I contracted and asked, how can we make this look like it's part of the house? It's very important to me that when we get this done, it looks like it was always there and it's part of the house. I have conferred with my neighbors, everybody that you've seen in these pictures, and I'm close with all them. None of them have any problem at all with what we're planning, what we would like to do.
So you've seen the staff report that they are in disagreement on all 5 variance issues.
Yes, I have.
Anything you want to add to that, or?
Well, as we go through the points, number 1, the most important thing to me was, and when I bought that house, it didn't have an attached garage on the front. That's correct. Wasn't a big deal to me. Since then, I've gotten married, and my wife, to leave her car and to go up steps in rain, icing, snow. It was tough last winter. And I decided, and that's where I asked Keith, can we do something that looks like, change a ridge line 90 degrees to the current ridge line? And I think there's some photos that show this, and get a good parking place for my wife, and then it'll walk into an enclosed covered porch, so she won't have to contend with weather to come into the house. And I don't see, we'll get older as every year goes by, and this is gonna be more difficult. So I thought this was a good time to visit this.
As far as utilities, we've had those all marked and looked at. There are no utilities. We're asking to build the attached garage all to the south or in front of the easement property line. So we've already checked that. We had visited the idea of putting the back of the house, as you guys have mentioned, all the septic lines run through that area. So that makes it even more difficult to try and redo that. So
Commissioner Aldrich?
Sir, do you have a back door to your house? And where I'm going with this is that in the event that this is denied, could you build a garage on the back side of your house and have access with a back door, for example?
and that's why I was stating, Commissioner, we can't, we visited that idea because that's where all the septic is, to the back of the house, and the lines run laterals and everything through that area.
The back of the house was also an addition by the prior owners. It was one owner house before we bought it. And that, when they extended that room out, it's a very low grade roof line. And the roof would be, I've talked to Keith about this, that was my first idea, but with septic, and this is septic, not sewer there, with the sewer clean out, running out right into that area, we'd be getting into a can of worms. I don't know, these guys would know how, but that roof line would be it'd be a challenge.
Yeah, it would, and probably end up having to be a flat roof, and again, we'd have to contend with redoing the septic and all that kind of stuff too, which gets very costly, as you all know. So we've talked to Ron Bartlett, who drew up the drawings and stuff, who does a lot of planning, came up with the best idea we could to make it conform with the rest of the neighborhood and look like it should be there. So even if we needed to, Eric and I have talked about this, if we need to reduce the size of the garage to maybe 22 or 20 feet to make it work as far as the setback, and we're okay with doing that as well. Still leave enough room for his wife to park her vehicle inside there and get into the house, so.
We came up with the 24 feet. I drive an F-150, so I said, well, if I parked up here, I'm going to be able to fit. My wife's car would fit in back to a 20 or 22 or a 20. The 24 feet we came up just off with, will it fit a full-size pickup?
Got it.
And my last question is, how wide are you looking at doing this? You're looking at, 24 foot deep, but how wide?
14 feet wide.
14.
14 foot?
Yes, and if you look back at the picture where it shows where the drive is, from the corner of the house over to the front porch entry is 14 feet.
Would it, again, I'm just throwing this out there, would it be any way possible, and staff help me out on this if they can't do it, any way you can turn that where you're only coming out 14 foot and your depth is 24 foot, or would that just
That's
completely?
the front entry of the house.
Yeah.
The front door is right there, and then there's a tree line and the other property line going the other direction, so.
And tying into the roof line, I kind of sketched it out that way too, thinking that would be a way, but the roof, bringing ridge lines together, turning this the other way, it gets,
That's why I want to tie the gable into the existing roof
Okay,
line to
thank you.
look like it should be there, so.
Any other questions from the commission? Seeing none, thank you, gentlemen. Stand by. Is there anyone from the public who would like to comment on this case? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the commission for discussion. Commissioner Aldrich.
Yeah, I'd like to try to find some way that we can do this. I mean, definitely understand the thing about having some issues with your knees. I've already had one replacement and gonna need another one, and then my wife's gotta do the same thing, so I definitely feel for you. And the fact that there hasn't been any opposition from any of the neighbors, and there's nobody appeared to speak one way or the other on it. I'm just gonna shoot this out there, and I'd like to make a motion that we approve, based on with the alternative findings, and then we do find that it does meet the appropriate criteria, or all 5 criteria. Second.
So do you have to state what those alternative findings are? No?
No, he stated correctly that he found that all 5 criteria. He believes in his motion that all 5
Okay.
criteria
I
are
thought we
met.
had to have a reason for what it was.
If I could, sir, Well, one option is to go with what the applicant has submitted and to say
Okay, that's
that meets all 5.
Okay. Commissioner Duell.
Just a clarification, this is based upon the dimensions they submitted for the
Right,
garage, correct?
So I will second the motion by Commissioner Aldridge. I just want to make, or did we already get it? All right, good. Sorry, I got ahead of myself again, trying to move it quickly. But I just want to make sure again, we have seasoned legal here. I don't want to upset them, so. We have a motion to approve and a second. Did you have a question? Commissioner Johnson.
I'm going to support the motion, as it seemed like there was quite a hedgerow on the one side, so it's really out of sight.
All right. So yes,
Just a
Wade.
quick question, just want to confirm that includes the conditions that were listed at the end, under the alternative section, correct?
Yes.
And the second concurs? Yes. All right. So we have a motion that's properly seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. All right, with that, we will adjourn the BZA and return to our Planning Commission meeting agenda. Item 2.1, this is the subdivision 2025-44, the one-step final plat for the Young East Edition. And we have a staff update on that one.
Is it correct that someone from the public wanted to hear it? So, okay. So I'll do a full,
Oh, we did have a raised hand on that one?
yep.
Okay.
So I'll do a full report on this. Greg Sharon, Planning Department, here to present the Young East Edition. This is a 252 lot residential subdivision. It's currently in the county, but the applicant will be petitioning or has petitioned to be annexed into the city of Wichita. And as part of the update that I was given, it's determined that 143rd Street will be annexed as part of that annexation petition. So with that, I will go through waivers. There are 4 waivers requested by the applicant. The first waiver is a requirement to provide continuation of existing street from existing Quincy Street to the south. If you go to the plat, please. The existing cul-de-sac south of this plat connects to the subdivision. They have not provided a complete street right away. They have just provided a fire apparatus road, and that will need a waiver. The second waiver is to allow block lengths in excess of 1,300 feet for blocks 1, 5, 7, and 8. The third waiver is from the lot to depth ratio for lot 61, block 1, and lots 15, 17, block 6. The fourth waiver is a waiver to allow access to streets through reserve strips, and the ordinance requires reserve strips controlling access to streets shall be prohibited except where their control is placed within the governing body under conditions approved by the Planning Commission or the platting of reserved strips as provided for by a CUP approved by the Plan Commission. Go through staff comments. Item A, City of Wichita Public Works and Utilities. Their comments regarding connections to sewer and water and fees, and some further clarification on utility and utility depths. Item B, subdivision, our city stormwater management has approved the drainage plan. Item C, county stormwater management has also approved the drainage plan. Item D, city fire standard comment regarding hydrants. Also, gates along the fire apparatus will require a gate permit, and fire department approves of waiver number 1. Traffic engineering. There are 2 comments that will be needed added to traffic engineering comments, and that is because since the subdivision committee meeting, it was determined and finalized that 143rd Street would be annexed with this subdivision plat. So I will read through the updated city traffic engineering comments. Traffic will not pursue the left turn auxiliary lanes on 143rd as previously commented by County Public Works, and pavement required on East 143rd Street north from the south to the north entrance that serves the duplexes. Item F, standard environmental health comment regarding permitted irrigation wells. Item G, County Public Works, the comments in your report regarding the auxiliary turn lane and pavement on 143rd will be removed. Item H, planning comments regarding minor text changes. Item I, GIS will need approval of street names before signing off on the plat. Item J, county surveying will need to comment on the final Mylar submission. And item K, Evergy will not need to request any additional easements. So with that, I stand for questions.
Does anyone from the commission have questions for staff? Commissioner Aldrich.
Will this property eventually be annexed?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Anyone will now ask the applicant agent to come forward to add any additional comment. Please identify yourself along with your address for the record.
Good afternoon, Joey Denicky, MKEC Engineering, 411 North Webb Road. We're in agreement with staff comments. We agree with the revised comments that were provided this week. So with that, I'd stand for any questions.
Thank you, Joey. Any questions for the applicant? Seeing none, thank you, sir. Stand by. Anyone from the public? Now this is your chance to come to the podium. Give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have up to 3 minutes.
Thank you. My name's Jason Gill. I live at 14818 East 29th Street North. A couple weeks ago, you had the first meeting on this, and one of the concerns brought up was the drainage. We live at the very lowest spot in that section. So everything from that development is going to come to us. We asked for, a plan, what's going to be done. We were told, well, we'll get together, have a meeting, and then the only thing that happened was we have a checklist and we're following everything, so trust us. I mean, June 3rd, we had a major rainstorm, and with that major rainstorm, we had an excessive amount of water that was coming from the west, from the south, as well as from the east. And it's all coming down our property. There's no documentation that's assuring us, after living in that property for 30 years, our neighbors across the street have been there over 50 years, and theirs is the first, and nobody's contacted them. So they're gonna get the water, and then it's gonna come straight to us, and we've just been told, don't worry, we've put stuff in. You know, I wanna know if you're using a 100-year floodplain or you're using a 500-year floodplain. You know, if it's a 100-year floodplain and there's no housing there, then great. But all of a sudden, if you start putting roads and roofs and all of that, and all that water is gonna run off, I wanna know what the plan is. So after 30 years of building a beautiful home and a beautiful property, that we're not gonna be completely destroyed. A number of years ago, I don't know if anybody's familiar with Bridlewood. It's off of Andover Road. They put a development in. They said the same thing, that we've allowed for stormwater runoff. And as a result, there were 13 houses in a neighborhood in Bridlewood, and every one of those 13 houses ended up being condemned because there was continuous floods that were coming from upstream. That concerns us. We've invested a lot of time and money in our property, and I know that, you know, development's gonna occur. You know, change is progress. But there should also be some attempt to meet with us before you guys approve anything to make sure those things are being handled in the proper way. I mean, has it been submitted to the state for approval? I guess that's one question, you know? But just pacifying us and saying everything's been taken care of, you know, that doesn't really sit with us. You know, are they doing a concrete basin underneath? Are they doing an actual detention cell, or are they just calling it a detention cell and it ends up being a landscaping pond? So those are things that we are concerned about. And I guess, has anybody talked to the township? We're getting calls from the township saying, what are they telling you about floodwater?
Okay, Mr. Gill, you've exceeded your time.
Okay.
Can you real quickly, using the mouse, point to where your house is on that map?
So that's 143rd, 29th Street. This is us right here.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, appreciate it. Thank you for coming down. Next speaker? Anyone else from the public? Seeing none, we'll ask the applicant to come back for rebuttal. You'll have up to 2 minutes.
Yes, thank you. So I will kind of add, I think he stated that we have a approved drainage report on file.
Bless you.
We have that through the city of Wichita. Since that last meeting, the subdivision meeting, we actually had county comments as well. So the county stormwater commented on our plat there. They actually had some concerns with some of the drainage to the north. We do have some drainage ponds that are allocated up there. However, they wanted some additional pipes kind of put in, so we are accepting to that. So we got their approval on that as well. And of course, we'll go through any kind of state approvals as they kind of come up. That's something that's kind of standard with this development, so.
So just to clarify, the city stormwater drainage plan was submitted and approved.
Correct.
The county drainage plan had some concerns, and you've agreed to those and putting it back in for approval with the county? Is that the process?
Yeah, correct. Since we're just adjacent to the county, there is part of the process where we had to submit it to the county as well. And they provided, comments back to us. And so in order for us to get that approved plan, we had to kind of go through those approvals as well.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant? Seeing none, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We will close the public comment and bring it back to the commission for discussion, consideration. Commissioner Williams Bay.
Are any of those plans available to the public beforehand, for them to look at?
Mr. Wadle.
Yes, sir. Those plans are available, but individuals do need to reach out to the stormwater folks over at the city and the county in order to view those. We don't have those. They get sent directly to, well, staff get them, but they get sent directly to the stormwater folks so they can review them and provide their comments.
So the public could go to stormwater and review those plans and have their questions answered?
Yes, sir, and I'll follow up with the gentleman afterwards, regardless of the decision.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Aldrich.
Actually, I have a couple of questions for staff. One clarification is that on if we were to approve this, could we do that contingent upon the county stormwater approval?
Yes, sir, I believe that you can. Yes, sir.
And the second question I had that was brought up about notifications. Just wanted to check and make sure that all the surrounding properties around there were actually notified as far as that were in the required limit.
Actually, in this case, because it's a plat, there's not a notification that goes out. That's only for zoning and variances and whatnot. It actually does not happen for plats. So with a plat, there's really not much in the way of notification that occurs. And that's because the state treats the platting process significantly different than the zoning process. Platting is seen as if you're able to meet the criteria that the local government, the city and the county establish. If you're able to check those boxes, then they've established essentially that you should be able to plat your property, as opposed to zoning, which is a change in what uses are allowed, and there's a lot more leeway and discretion.
Okay, thank you.
Good. Thank you for the explanation. Greg, did you have something to add?
Yes, I just had one clarification that Aldrich had mentioned. I should note that I did get confirmation from County Stormwater that the drainage plan submitted has been approved. So that has been approved.
All right.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yep.
So then the motion would just need to be approval subject to the additional staff update. Okay. Commissioner Duell.
Since this was a zoning matter and the current zoning is RR rural residential, and they're proposing SF5, does that mean that this case will come back to us for zoning approval?
Yeah, it's.
So the property in question has been annexed, so RR converted to SF5 when it got annexed. The northeast portion of this property, so that would be the southwest corner of 29th and 143rd, has a request for TF3 zoning later on in today's agenda.
Yeah, that's item 411. Any more discussion? Okay, so I'm willing to make the motion to approve with the staff update as part of that motion.
Second.
We have a motion to approve with the second by Commissioner Bill Johnson. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. We now go to item 4.2, I believe is correct, which is conditional use 2025-148. And Brad, I believe you have the floor.
Yes, thank you. Brad Etherly, MAPD. We are discussing Con 2025-00148. In this case, the applicants are requesting a conditional use to permit oil and gas drilling on a portion of the property. Applicant owns a 55.6 acre parcel to the north, as you can see here on the screen, north of West 63rd Street South, and then another parcel south of West 63rd that is 17.9 acres in size. According to the University of Kansas's oil and gas well data map, it does appear that both parcels have previously had wells installed, which have been plugged and abandoned. The application area is zoned RR and SF20, which generally permits by right agricultural activities, larger lot residential uses, and a limited number of non-residential uses. Per the UZC, oil and gas drilling in those districts does require a conditional use approval. If we can go to the site plan, it does show that the proposed well is to be placed approximately 918 feet south of the north or front property line of the tract south of West 63rd Street South, and approximately 213 feet west of the east side property line. The east property line does abut property owned by the city of Wichita, and then the south property line abuts the Mitchell floodway. On the tract north of West 63rd Street South, the site plan shows a tank battery and a saltwater disposal well proposed. The tank battery is proposed to be located closer to the western property line or the interior side property line. And the saltwater disposal well is proposed to be located southeast of the tank battery. The UZC requires structures to maintain a minimum 85-foot setback from the center line of the section line roads. Any placement of storage tanks must adhere to this setback. The site plan does not show the proposed location of any storage tanks, and if storage tanks are to be placed on the site, staff would need a revised site plan showing the locations of those. The UZC does require solid screening for all uses other than single-family or duplex when those uses are abutting or across the street from residential zoning districts. So the applicant would be required to screen the proposed uses on all sides with a minimum of 6 to 8 foot screening fence. And in this case, a screening fence could be installed in the immediate area of the use as opposed to screening the entire properties. If we can go to the zoning map, property to the north is within and owned by the city of Wichita, is zoned SF5, single family, and is in agricultural use. Property to the east is partly within and owned by the city of Wichita, is zoned SF5 and RR, and is used as a drainage ditch. Other property to the east is zoned RR and is developed with a single family dwelling. Property to the south is the Mitchell floodway. Properties to the west are split between being in the city of Wichita and unincorporated Sedgwick County, are zoned RR, SF5, and TF3, and are in agricultural use and developed with a single-family dwelling. The subject sites are platted, and platting is not required for the intended use. As far as public services go, the site has access to West 63rd Street South. As far as services go, water services from the city of Wichita are located 1/4 mile to the east and the South Seneca right-of-way, and sewer services would be provided on site if they are needed. As far as the plans and policies, if we can go to the future growth map, the request is in partial conformance with Community Investments Plan. The map identifies the area to be appropriate for small city urban growth area, and this is in the Hayesville urban growth area. Staff did review the comprehensive plan for Hayesville and took a look at the Hayesville Future Community Growth Patterns map, which identifies the site as being appropriate for residential. However, considering the use of oil and gas drilling, it's typically a temporary land use. And with the area being fairly remote, the request that the area is located in, staff feels that the request is appropriate. I can also let you know that we did meet with the Hayesville Planning Commission on November 13th, and they recommended approval of the conditional use as well. As far as compatibility locational guidelines, under the heading Land Use Compatibility, Guideline 1A states that higher intensity development should be discouraged from locating in areas of existing lower intensity development, particularly in established low-density residential areas. Also, under the heading of Land Use Compatibility, Guideline 1B states that industrial and major commercial land uses that generate pollution, odor, noise, light, safety hazards, and high levels of traffic should be located away from residential areas and developed with screening, buffering, and site design features sufficient to mitigate adverse impacts. The proposed well is in a fairly remote part of Sedgwick County, as bordered by property that is developed as a drainage ditch that the city of Wichita owns in the Mitchell floodway. While there are some single-family dwellings in the near vicinity, staff feels the operation is proposed to be enough of a distance away that it should not negatively affect these property owners. And then finally, the South Wichita Hayesville Area Plan. The requested rezoning is not in conformance with the 2001 plan. The plan's future development concept map also identifies the subject site as appropriate for low-density residential development. And again, while oil and gas is considered an industrial use, the relative remoteness of the area should make the use appropriate. If we can go to site pics. This is looking south into the site. The single-family dwelling is not part of the property located to the east of that. Next picture. This is looking north into the site from 63rd. Next picture. This is looking east down 63rd. Next picture. And this is looking west down 63rd. And I believe that's all for the site pics. Yes. So staff does recommend approval of the application subject to the conditions listed in the staff report. We did receive one public comment in the form of an email, which I've placed in front of you for your consideration. And with that, I can stand for any questions.
Thank you, Brad. Any questions from the commission for staff? Mr. Williams-Bay.
Yeah, Brad, you're saying, it says here that the requested use is not in conformance with the Hayesville Comprehensive Plan. I'm not quite understanding.
Yeah, because all of the plans really call for residential and no, I don't know that the plan is really ever going to call for oil and gas drilling. But because of the fairly remote area and being bordered by a drainage ditch to the east and the Mitchell floodway to the south, as well as where the well is located on that south property, basically in the southeast corner, a good distance away from any single-family dwellings, we felt that it was at least in partial conformance and was appropriate. So that was staff's analysis.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for staff from the commission? Seeing none, thank you. We'll now ask the applicant and/or agent to come forward. Please identify your name and address and your role in this case.
Yeah, my name's Richard Schremer, address P.O. Box 438, Hayesville, Kansas 67060, and I'm the president of Bear Petroleum, the applicant.
Okay, thank you, sir. Go ahead.
I have not had access to the complaint, so I don't know what to address here. We've recently done a project like this just a year ago at 60th and Broadway, and everything worked out over there, and it ran into the same rules that we have here. The thing I want to bring up about that acreage in this process is had numerous wells on it and have been plugged. So if a person was going to look at this as a housing area, you'd probably be looking at building houses on plugged wells. And that's never a good idea. So I know that I wouldn't want my grandkid living in a house that was built on a plugged well.
Do you have any? Okay, we're going to open up to comments, questions from the commission, if you're okay with that, sir.
Yes.
Commissioner Aldrich.
Thank you. Sir, there's, on the recommendations of approval, there's 9 different recommendations from staff. Do you support all the recommendations?
I'm not sure what the term he used was, the fencing or the
Screening? Screening?
screening. I think that's probably, I visited with Hayesville about this, and they voted to allow no screening because of the fact of safety issues. If someone's inside a chain link fence and it's screened, and if something was to happen there, no one could see them. We had a situation at 60th and Broadway in the trees next to our tank battery. We started having a homeless development in there. And I feel that if we would have had our tank battery screened there, I think we'd have probably had the homeless living inside our battery. There's a tank battery laid at 47th and Broadway, and it's completely chain link fenced in, surrounded by trees, and they have a homeless problem in there where they'll dig underneath the fence and get inside there for the shelter.
But what would, they would do that anyway, wouldn't they, whether or not there was a fence there or not?
Well, you can't see inside the screening, so you couldn't see them in there, which would be a danger to them. And another thing that's a little silly about it is it's a 6-foot screening, and these tanks can be 12 to 15 foot tall. So you're not really screening anything out to be seen. And Hayesville voted unanimously to go without the screening.
Okay, thank you.
Any other? Commissioner Duell?
This may be a question for staff, but the page that we have titled Oil and Gas Well Map, can we put that up there? I'm curious if these are all plugged wells or what is that?
This one.
Could you get the last picture up, the one they just switched from?
I think he's referring to this map, Mr. Shermer.
The one we're looking at here?
No.
Yes.
More screens, I believe. 2 more slides. We don't have it? Okay.
Yeah, Commissioner Duell, you're correct. These are all previous wells that have been plugged. And I would like to just clarify also, I did fail to mention that the Hayesville Planning Commission did recommend approval. They did also recommend a fence around the operation, but not solid screening. So like a chain link fence for security, but also being able to see inside. So I appreciate you mentioning that.
Thank you. I think that's all the questions we have for you, Mr. Shermer.
Thank you.
So please stand by. Are there any next speakers? Anyone from the public that would like to comment on this case? I thought we had someone earlier. Please give us your name and address for the record. You have up to 3 minutes.
Kirk Miller, K.E. Miller Engineering, 117 East Louis. I'm the agent for the property owner right here. And earlier this year, we ran a plat through you and it was approved. Runs all the way along here for a single family and duplex subdivision. He's talking about putting his tanks right along here, which is an industrial use, pretty close to a highly dense residential use, proposed residential use. So we would like to see any of these uses as far away from this property as we can get them, if this is something that the Planning Commission wants to approve. We're fine with anything that's south of 63rd Street, but if you're going to approve it, we would prefer you have the tanks and everything a lot closer to 63rd Street and give us a nice buffer back in here from the industrial uses back to this property. The owner of the property is here. You want to ask him any questions also. But if we could get 1,000 feet or 1,500, something like that from it, that would be better for us, I think, as far as just the density and the closeness to the property.
Any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Next public speaker. Again, as a reminder, your name and address, and you have up to 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Kristen Sickler. My address is, I own the property next to this property, and it's 1414 West 63rd Street South.
You use the
I can show
cursor to-
you, on the map. Hang on. So this is the big ditch here. This property is my uncle's house, and this is the property that was my mom's house that I now own, right next door. It's
Okay.
very close. So my biggest issue, number one, was I didn't get the notification that the Hayesville hearing even happened until the day after the hearing. And even if it was in my mailbox, it would have gotten there at 2 o'clock, which would have been after the hearing. So I didn't even know about it, couldn't go to it, don't know anything about it. I don't know how much this entails, and I don't know how much traffic there is gonna be, but it's right. My stepfather, my mom passed away, but my stepfather still lives in that house. And there are several people that live there, and when you took the pictures, and you showed the pictures to the east, you couldn't see the houses, but there's literally 4 houses on that side, and then several houses across the street. So there's gonna be lots of traffic, lots of lights, and I don't see how that is considered rural residential anymore when you're bringing all that in there. So I'm just concerned with my property value, which will be my responsibility in the future, and everything that's gonna affect my elderly parent that's living there now. And I just don't understand why everything was done so quickly, and it makes me worried. So,
Thank you. Any questions for the speaker?
Is there any way we can postpone this? Should I get a lawyer? I don't know what to do here. I don't know anything about this. I got this notice and it seems like unfair. No one came to me. I mean, I own the mineral rights to my property as well. So they're gonna be pulling, a big company that has lots of money is gonna be pulling all the oil out from under us. Plus, they're gonna lower our property value. And I don't understand, I don't see how that's fair for you to just up and change something so quickly. So I don't know what I can say or do, but that's what I wanted to say.
Okay. Thank you. Next speaker. Seeing none, we'll move it back to the applicant agent for rebuttal. You'll have up to 2 minutes to address any concerns that were raised by the speakers.
Yeah. Well, this spot right there has had two big signs posted there for well over 30 days, marking the fact that this hearing was coming up. So it wasn't like there was any secret here. And everybody in a half-mile area of this property has been been notified by the Planning Commission, because we had to pay for that service to be done registered through the Planning Commission. So everybody in this whole half-mile area in a big old circle has probably got a registered letter. I'm not sure that your staff could tell us how they mailed it out, but it cost me hundreds of dollars to have that done. So the thing has not been kept a secret. There's been two large signs right there for well over a month, maybe two.
The question about the location of the well and the storage that was addressed by the
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. Where that is planned is right in this area here. And the reason for that is where the disposal well will be, and there'll need to be a tank there anyway. So we're going to put the tank battery with that tank. So we shouldn't be any closer than 660 feet from their property line to the very far southeast property line. We should be anywhere from 660, 990, maybe 1,320 feet.
Any other questions from the commission? Seeing none, thank you, sir. We're going to close the public hearing and bring it back to the commission for discussion. Mr. Wadle, there was a question about the notification area. Oh, he left. Philip.
Yes, and Chairman, I believe Scott may have left to try to get some information on that to provide some additional clarity to the Planning Commission. That's my understanding. So he'll probably be back soon in terms of documentation the planning staff has on that.
Just for the notification and what was the...
Correct. And I think is that what your question was
Yeah.
getting to? Yeah, I think he'll have that momentarily.
Okay. Commissioner Aldrich.
I have a question for staff regarding the screening on that. Is staff's thoughts on that?
Regarding the solid screening versus the
Yes.
chain link?
Yes.
Yes, Brad Etherly with MAPD. The UZC requires it. We are allowing for it to not take place over the entire property, but only where the operations are going to exist. You, as the Planning Commission body, you could make a condition to require fencing, but not be solid screening, if that's your desire to do so.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're kind of holding pattern until we can get an answer back from staff regarding the notification area and properly.
I think that's correct, Chairman. I did want to supplement what I'd indicated before, because I believe that the zoning, my recollection of the zoning code is you're supposed to make a determination on if proper notice was made, if that issue is raised, and at least to a certain degree, it was kind of tangentially raised, I believe. So.
Right, so. Well, sir, I can't.
Okay.
Because the public comment period has closed. Now, if you want to go sell something to staff that they could offer it. But not to us. We've closed the public comment. So,
Sorry, Chairman. Yeah, you could declare a recess if you wanted to, or if you wanted to recess this particular case and come back to it. I know that's a little
Yeah.
atypical procedurally for you, but
right.
I believe that would be an option. I assume he will be back pretty soon.
Yeah. I've got 2 commissioners that just stepped out of the room too, so that brings me down to only 8 votes. So kind of want to wait a little bit. Sorry, folks, this happens occasionally. So, but we want to do it the right way. All right. Do I need to call a short recess? Okay.
Maybe advise.
I'm going to call for a short recess of, do I need to put a time limit on it? I don't, do I? I do?
I think that you should. I think you should declare the time that you will resume.
Okay. Not before, or is it like during executive session? I have to say not returning until?
Yeah, not returning until no earlier.
Oh, wait.
No, yeah, not
Here he
returning
comes.
before. Oh, Scott's back. I think it should be resumed.
That's some of my best tap dancing. All right. Hopefully you have an answer for us, Scott.
What I've discovered is that maybe you already covered this while I was gone, but apparently the Hayesville Planning Commission meeting happened before our letter went out, our notice letter went out. So that's why the timing happened where.
As it relates to the Hayesville.
Exactly, as it relates to the Hayesville one. In terms of who received the notice, we're able to pull up the application here and we can see the list from the title company. And it does show Kristen Sickler on there. The one of the challenges with the list is that it shows the property owner's address. It doesn't show the property. It shows a legal description for the property that's in the boundary area. So, but we are able to see her address in Wichita, and we've got. Let's see. We probably have count up how many people are on here.
What was the distance of the notification area?
It was a 1,000-foot radius.
1,000 foot?
The ownership list shows a mailing address for Kristen Sickler in Wichita. And I believe the question wasn't that she didn't get it, she got it after the Hayesville Planning Commission meeting, which state statute only requires a certain notification timeline from this public hearing. Not, since they're just an advisory role and recommendation to county commission, there's not a state requirement for how many days prior to that meeting. It is the number of days prior to this meeting that the notification goes out.
So for our purposes, proper notification has been established.
I believe so, yes, sir. It shows, the list shows approximately 28 properties were within the notification area.
Okay.
And Chairman, I did want to chime in and say, and I think Philip was getting into this, that it's based on the date that the mailing goes out. The statute does not determine when it's received. That's not how it's applied. So it's based on when it's mailed out.
Correct. Okay. Commissioner Aldrich.
I guess would it be appropriate now to make a motion that the proper notifications has been met?
Yes, that's correct. You'd make findings and then and have a motion in a second.
So moved.
Okay, so we have a motion that been properly notified. We have a second by Commissioner Maeder. Thank you. The motion was made by Commissioner Aldrich. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. We had a nay? Commissioner Miles was the one nay. So now we've got that established. We still have to go back to the request for the conditional use permit to find if there's a motion for that. Someone moving forward it? Go ahead. Yeah, go if you want to.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve with the conditions given by staff.
Did you want to include anything as relates to the fence, the screening? Because staff
Well,
was,
that would include the revised revisions, that staff has given.
okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I see a hand.
So if I may, Mr. Chairman, there are no supplementary use regulations associated with this particular conditional use. The requirement for solid screening would therefore simply be out of the basic zoning code. To change that would require a variance to the zoning code. I don't believe this body can waive that as you would if it had a supplementary use regulation that separately required screening, which it does not.
Okay, so, staff is still recommending solid screening.
That's what the code would require, yes.
So, but then they could come back and ask for a variance to that at a later date.
They certainly could.
Okay.
Based on that explanation, and thank you, I guess I'll revise my motion, that we approve based on all of staff recommendations and comments.
My second is revised. to
Okay, so we
that as
have a motion by Commissioner Aldrich with a second by Commissioner Clontz. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And that'd be Commissioner Miles, 1 nay. Next item. This is item 4.4. Yes. All right, Brad, you're up again.
Thank you. Once again, Brad Etherly, MAPD, discussing Con 2025-00151. In this case, the applicant is requesting a conditional use to allow utility major on property zoned SF5, single-family residential. The 10.01 acre property is located at 4465 North Arkansas Avenue. That's still tough for me to say. The applicant is requesting the conditional use to install a groundwater treatment facility for the Chisholm Creek Utility Authority. The subject site has previously been used as a storage yard for Evergy Energy. The proposed building is approximately 70 feet by 50 feet. I don't know if we can go to the site plan that shows that. And then other proposed equipment includes a chemical storage tank, valve vaults, a culvert, and a concrete head wall and apron. And I'm not sure what all of those things are used for, so those may be good questions for the applicant if there are any. The parking requirement for utility major is 1 per employee. The proposed site plan included with the application does not show proposed parking, so again, a site plan, revised site plan would likely need to be received by the planning staff prior to staff approval. The Unified Zoning Code requires screening for all uses except for single family and duplex when abutting or across a street or alley from residential zoning districts. This property does abut residential zoning on the north and south property lines, so the applicant would be required to provide that solid screening on a portion of the north property line, the east or front property line, and the entirety of the south property line. The west property line, which is the rear property line, does abut the Mitchell floodway and would not be required to be screened. Landscaping would be required per the landscape code, which would require a landscape street yard, as well as parking lot screening along North Arkansas Avenue unless the parking is proposed to be 150 feet away from the street. Additionally, it would require landscape buffers along the north and south property lines where abutting residential zoning. Submittal of a landscape plan would be required with construction drawings for review and approval prior to the issuance of building permits. If we can go to the zoning map, properties to the north are zoned SF5 and GC, general commercial, are developed with a warehouse office combo, general retail, and agricultural uses. Properties to the east across North Arkansas Avenue are zoned SF5, are developed with single-family dwellings and agricultural uses. Properties to the south are zoned SF5 and are developed single-family dwellings, an elementary school, and vacant lots that are platted for residential uses. Property to the west is the Mitch Mitchell floodway. A portion of the subject site right here actually extends into the floodway and has a small property line that abuts property that's zoned SF5 and is developed with an electrical substation and a storage yard for Evergy. The subject property is unplatted, and there are no other zoning cases associated with the property. The site has access to North Arkansas Avenue, which has a sidewalk on the west side. And while water is in place and can accommodate the required services, sewer would likely need to be extended if required. The closest sewer main is approximately 700 feet to the south in the North Arkansas right-of-way, and Wichita Transit does not serve this subject site. As far as plans and policies, if we can go to the future growth map, the proposed application is in conformance with the community investments plan. The future growth map identifies the area as appropriate for industrial, which is described as areas that reflect the full diversity of industrial development intensities and types typically found in a large urban municipality. So the proposed use is consistent with that future growth map. As far as locational guidelines, under locational guideline 2A, under the heading development pattern, it encourages infill development that maximizes public investment in existing and planned infrastructure services. Also, under land use compatibility, guideline 1B states that industrial and major commercial land uses that generate pollution, odor, noise, light, safety hazards, and high levels of traffic should be located away from residential areas and developed with screening, buffering, and site design features sufficient to mitigate adverse impacts. So the required buffering and screening, along with conditions of approval, should help mitigate any adverse impacts to the neighboring properties. If we can go to the site pictures. This is looking west into the site. Next picture. This is looking east away from the site. Next picture. Looking north away from the site. Next picture. Looking south away from the site. So staff does recommend the conditional use be approved, subject to the conditions listed in the staff report. We did have one member of the public show up to the office with questions, and he did state that he was opposed, but did not actually provide any written comment other than that or any other comment. And with that, I can stand for any questions.
Thank you, Brad. Does anyone from the commission have questions for staff? Seeing none, thank you. We'll now ask the applicant agent to come forward, give us your name and address and your role in the case.
Thanks. Russ A.V. Boffman, company agent for the applicant, 315 Ellis. We also have some CCUA members here that can answer some of the more technical questions. The only thing I'd add is that this site has been utilized as part of a utility land use since 1937, I believe. It was part of the old Ripley Power Plant, which is across the river to the west, which kind of explains that little tail that heads off into the floodway. We will be working with staff on the screening landscaping plan. I think you can see here, as well as along that south line, we clearly have, roughly 150 feet in the northern part of the school property that's heavily treed. The building will set approximately here, which is 250 feet from the south property line, as well as approximately 500 feet from west from Arkansas Avenue. With that, I'll stand for any questions that I probably can't answer and turn it over any technical questions to the gentleman from CCUA.
Thank you, thank you, Russ. Commissioner Aldrich.
Yeah, thank Russ. This might be for the applicants, but can you explain the permit process on this?
I cannot. So I'm glad that he's here. I know that that was raised in an email over the past couple of days. I'll turn it over.
Yeah, just give us your name and address for the record.
Yeah, I'm Anthony Kentz. I'm the utility manager at Chisholm Creek Utility Authority, 5551 North Broadway in Park City. So this project has been in the works for a while now. We're working with the EPA. We own the property. The EPA, this is the result of some groundwater contamination cleanup that happened decades ago. The cleanup portion of the project has already begun. This would be a groundwater extraction and treatment system. So that's the purpose of the treatment facility. And there would be a discharge permit that would be, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's already been started. That process has been started with KDHE for discharge into the river. But I don't know what other permit question you have.
Well, I know there'd be state, but is there any federal requirements as far as permits on that from EPA or?
Well, I have, the EPA is the one that's funding the project. So
Yeah, but that doesn't mean they're gonna permit it, so it's just money.
the funding has been approved for the project, so. If you'd like to, Paulina.
Hello, my name's Paulina Tinoco Castaneda. I'm with EPA Region 7. That's 11201 Renner Boulevard in Lenexa, Kansas. And as far as the permitting process goes, we just work with our contractor to figure out all of the permitting requirements. And Anthony nailed it on the head. It's NPDES, this zoning permit, potentially another permit for the property, but we're still working through the details. But we work hand in hand with KDHE to make sure that we meet all permits on a permit equivalency basis, meaning we don't pay for the permits, but we do have to meet all the requirements.
Okay, and I guess my next question is whoever wants to answer it. Do you support all the recommendations that are listed from staff?
Yeah, everybody in the application team is accepting of the staff conditions.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the commission? Seeing none, thank you. Stand by. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak on this matter? Please give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have up to 3 minutes.
Dustin Wisdom, 4458 North Arkansas. And I've installed water mains for years, and I've been around water, and I've never been around a water treatment plant that don't put off odor. And right here is an environmental magnet school that uses all of this ground here for camping with all the children and parents 2 or 3 times a year. I personally live right here, so I'll be seeing all this all day long. I'm worried about property values, the smell, and they're building a grocery store right here. Who wants to smell all that while they go buy groceries? I think this is the wrong place to put it. They should have put it back above 53rd in Park City or over by the zoo by the new one. I don't know what they're going to do with the water when they pull it out, but that's our groundwater. What are you going to do with it? You going to sell it to somebody else? Or are you going to put it back in the ground clean? I don't know what's going on here, but I'm not real happy with having a big water plant treatment right across the street from my house. My dad went to school here, my kids went to school here, and my grandchildren are currently going to school here. They don't need to smell that stuff every day. That's all I got.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker. I'm sorry, any questions from the commission? Seeing none. Next speaker.
Hi, my name's Clayton Moore. Like this gentleman, I also live in the neighborhood. I'm 401 West 43rd. I'm this house here. I'm not real, it's the first time I've ever done anything like this. I don't stay up to date on a lot of this, so it's sort of a fact-finding mission, but it's a lot of the questions I had were some of the same concerns he had was what kind of impact is this going to have on our neighborhood? Is this going to be putting off sound, light, smells? What kind of runoff could there be? At one point, you guys mentioned chemical tanks. I know it's treatment, so that's bound to happen. But like he said, there is a school right here, And while there is trees along that block the site, that won't block the sound, and it is an environmental focus, and they spend a lot of time outdoors. The whole focus of that school is no child left inside or indoors. So that land is used, even though it just looks like a wooded area. So it's just general concerns. Has there been sort of studies to look at what impact this is going to have to the neighborhoods, to the property values? And I don't know, are there any other facilities like this in Wichita or in the areas that people could have sort of an idea of what is getting dumped into the neighborhood? And then how long does construction for something like this take place? Because like the previous notes of the kids being outside, if there's a bunch of construction noise going on all the time, it's going to make that a little more difficult. I went to that school. My parents went to that school. My kids are currently going to that school. So it's just a concern.
Thank you. Any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, appreciate it, Mr. Moore. Next speaker? Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll return it back to the applicant for rebuttal. You'll have up to 2 minutes to address any concerns that were raised by the public speakers.
Anthony Kins, Chisholm Creek Utility Authority. As far as the smell goes, this is groundwater treatment. There shouldn't be any smells associated, not like sewer smells or anything. So we don't foresee any odor issues with this treatment facility, because it's to clean up groundwater contamination that happened back in the 50s. So again, that is, if anything, it will ensure clean groundwater for the neighborhood, because the groundwater plume is moving in that direction. It's a southwardly movement for the groundwater contamination plume. So it's extremely important that this gets cleaned up, and that's why we can't really put it in a different place. The wells have to be strategically placed. It's a Superfund site.
Where did it originate, the groundwater?
It was at 57th and Broadway.
57th and Broadway.
Yeah, there was an old Midland oil refinery there.
Okay.
It was back in the 50s
Okay,
that this all went down, I'm pretty sure, so.
thank you. Commissioner High.
Where's the water gonna be discharged?
Right now, they're working with KDHE to get it discharged into the Arkansas River, the little Arkansas right behind the property, through an NPDES permit. And there is a goal to potentially reuse the water with our drinking water plant at Chisholm Creek Utility Authority, since we already have a municipal well on that lot. And that would be a beneficial reuse.
Commissioner Williams Bay.
How big an area does it encompass that you're treating the water from? How large of an area?
The groundwater plume, you mean?
Yes.
So I would need to see a map. It's off this map. I'm sorry, I'm the alternative remedial project manager for the site. The primary is on maternity leave. But approximately here, the leading edge of the plume is approximately here. But it extends up to the large intersection, 53rd in Arkansas, past CCUA, all the way to the Midland property.
Wow.
So if that's 57th and Broadway, approximately there. So it's quite a long plume.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no more questions from the commission, thank you. Just as a point of record, this property on the south side abuts the school, so they would have been notified. And there's no one from the school weighed in on this at all? Okay. All right. Mr. Wadle.
If I could, sir, our understanding of the project is, and if I could, I'd like to ask a question of the applicant because of our understanding of the project. So for the applicant, is there another facility that already exists in Wichita that is similar to what you are predicting that this will be like? I'm thinking, would the Herman Hill project for Wichita that is used to clean the groundwater down south, is that a similar facility to what you're proposing?
I'm not familiar with that.
So the groundwater treatment system, that form of technology is relatively popular. The EPA uses it quite often for containment and also for treatment of contaminants in the diffused phase, so within groundwater. I'm not sure if there are other pump and treat systems similar to this one within Wichita, but within Region 7, absolutely. Yes. I can think of another one of my projects in Columbus, Nebraska that uses something similar.
Thank you. All right, seeing no other questions, I move that we approve subject to staff conditions.
Second?
We have a motion and approval, motion with a second by Commissioner Aldridge. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Next item is 4.6. Brad gets a break. Don't be a stranger, Russ.
Good afternoon, everyone. Christina Reith with planning staff here to present CON 2025-00155. The applicant for this case is requesting a conditional use for a single vehicle recreational vehicle campground on property zoned RR rural residential. The 5-acre property is generally located on the south side of West 71st Street, 1/2 mile east of South 71st Street West. The purpose of this request is to continue to utilize the RV as a dwelling on site in addition to the existing single-family dwelling and provide a residence for the single-family member. An RV campground is permitted in the zoning district with a conditional use approval. So if we could go forward to the site plan, please. Thank you. So the site plan, it shows a new 12-foot by 30-foot RV would be located on the east side of the property. And then there would be some new sheds that would also be on the property. And because this property is 5 acres in size, they don't require an administrative adjustment to have an accessory structure in front of a principal structure. The character of the neighborhood is rural. Properties to the north, south, east, and west are also zoned rural residential. To the north, south, and west is in use as agricultural land, and to the east is developed with a single-family dwelling. The subject site is not platted, and platting is not required for an additional residence on site, and there are no zoning cases associated with this site. The subject site has access to West 71st Street South, which is a paved county arterial street with open ditches on each side. The site uses well water, and sewer will be an on-site septic system. The requested conditional use is in conformance with the Community Investments Plan. The future growth concept map identifies this area as rural, which encompasses land outside the 2035 urban growth areas for Wichita and the small cities. Based on the information available prior to the public hearing, staff is recommending that the conditional use be approved, subject to the following conditions. This can only be allowed for one recreational vehicle. Tent camping is not permitted. The conditional use shall be declared null and void after the recreational vehicle has been removed from the site for a period of 30 days, or for 2 years after the date of approval with an option to extend the time for 1 year with an administrative adjustment through the planning department. The campground shall be developed and maintained in general compliance with the approved site plan. On-site water and wastewater services shall be provided in compliance with Sedgwick County codes. The applicant shall obtain applicable permits related to building, health, and zoning. And if the zoning administrator finds that there is a violation of any of these conditions in the conditional use, the planning director and the zoning administrator may declare the conditional use null and void. This recommendation is based on the golden rules, which are listed in your staff report. I will skip ahead to the last comment here because at the time the staff report was prepared. I did not receive any comment in regards to the conditional use. On Tuesday, I received an email from a lady who is a neighbor. I printed out that email and distributed it to you guys on your desks. So with that, I will go ahead to some of the site photos. This is looking east towards the site of the RV, or where the proposed RV will be placed. Next slide, please. This is looking south towards the principal structure that is currently in use. Next slide, please. This is looking south towards the proposed site of the RV. Next slide, please. This is looking north away from the site towards West 71st Street South. Next slide, please. This is looking west away from the site of the RV where you can see the principal structure as well. Next slide, please. And that concludes my site photos, and with that, I will stand for any questions.
Thank you, Christina. Commissioner Aldrich.
Yep, Christina, just to clarify, this is only going to be for one RV, correct?
Correct, and that is in one of the conditions of approval.
Yeah, because the information that we got from one of the concerned neighbors, I think she's under the impression that this could be a whole RV park and not just one unit. Thank you.
Any other questions for staff? Seeing none, thank you, Christina.
Thank you.
We'll now ask the applicant and/or agent to come forward. Give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have up to 10 minutes. Anything you want to add to the staff report?
Hi, I'm Kathy Reese, address 10447 North 2840 Road, Dover, Oklahoma. My niece and her husband bought this land, and they've offered to let me move on to it. My elderly dad is 85 and needs some help in the next few years. And this way I can help him and be around family on my family's land. I live in the RV, but I'll be using their bathroom and their laundry room and kitchen. I just sleep in the RV. And that's all.
And are you in agreement with the staff recommended conditions in the report? All the limitations that they put on it and?
Yes.
Okay. Was that gonna be your question, Bob?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Sorry to jump it, but. Anyone else have questions for the applicant? Seeing none, stand by, Ms. Reese. Is there anyone from the public that would like to comment on this? Please go to the podium, give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have up to 3 minutes.
I'm kind of new to this. My name's Don Riggle, Dirksen, 6117 West 71st Street South. I'm kind of 3 houses down from them.
Can you use the pointer on the map, on the computer to?
Yeah, let's see. This is our place. We own 10 acres out there. We've been out there 47 years. The problem I have with this is when we first came out, I was a young child, and we weren't allowed to put any houses. You had to have a 5-acre lot. This RV is, she said she's gonna go to the bathroom, but it's probably, I don't know, from here to that street out there, her walking, it's not right next door to the house. So there's gonna be another septic tank put in? Because we're not on sewer, and we're not on city water. It's well water and it's septic tank. I know there was another email that came in with concerns. And there is no sheds. There's 2 sheds. She said there was one here and then the RV and then this one. The problem with that is they've already stuck electrical pole there. And there's nothing. I mean, their house is like, I don't know, down here, and she's built it on the edge of the property. So you're going 5 acres. I just have concern of how long she's gonna live there. And it's a 4-bedroom house, and this couple just bought it September of 2024. It's 4-bedroom, full basement. That's my concerns.
Any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, thank you. Next public speaker? Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll ask the applicant to return to the podium for rebuttal, if you so choose. If you want to address her concerns, it's up to you. Seeing none, you don't want to address, you're good? Okay, we'll return it to the commission for consideration. Commissioner Aldrich.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the conditional use based on all staff recommendations and comments.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Aldrich with a second by Commissioner Miles. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next item. Because the person that just spoke wanted to hear it.
Christina Reith again with planning staff here to present PUD 2025-00023. The applicant for this case is requesting a zone change from single family to planned unit development to create the St. Jude Food Bank planned unit development. The subject site is 0.39 acres in size, located on the east side of North Amadon, within a quarter-mile north of West 29th Street. The subject site is currently developed, although it was occupied with a single-family dwelling up until 2023. The applicant is requesting the zone change in order to allow a food bank on site, which we interpreted as warehousing. Warehousing is defined in the zoning code as a storage of materials, equipment, or products within a building for manufacturing use or for distribution to wholesalers or retailers. To ensure compatibility for current and future land uses, staff recommends an additional condition of approval in which the food bank is ancillary to an abutting place of worship or school. The applicant requests to have parking accounted for through a private agreement with the property owner to the south, because immediately south of the subject site is a church that is also owned by the applicant. The applicant intends to operate the food bank and provide parking for the church on site. So churches require 1 parking space per 4 seats based on room or space with maximum seating capacity. Elementary schools require 1 parking space per teacher or employee plus 5 visitor spaces. And middle schools require 1 parking space per teacher or employee plus 10 visitor spaces. However, warehousing requires 1 parking space per 2,000 square feet of the first 20,000 square feet of building floor area, plus 1 per 5,000 square feet of building floor area over 20,000 square feet. Aerial photography shows that the site has ample parking for all uses. However, to provide the necessary off-site parking for the proposed food bank, a conditional use for ancillary parking is required. The applicant requested default the lighting standards to those outlined in Section 4B4 of the Unified Zoning Code. Because the requested use is non-residential, staff recommends adding a provision within the PUD that requires landscaping on the front or west side of the property. The applicant requests to not require screening as long as the design of the warehouse adheres to architectural standards. The subject site is adjacent to single-family residences on the north and east sides of the property. The property owners to the north, they do have existing 6-foot solid wood fencing. However, staff is recommending additional screening on the east or rear and north sides of Section 4B of the zoning code. And then we just added another provision that requires trash receptacles and roof mechanical equipment to also be screened from street level view. The applicant did not specify how the architectural standards would be met within the PUD document for this warehouse. So we are clarifying that metal to not be used for more than 25% of the exterior siding, and the roof would be hipped or gabled. So as you can see, there's a modification to the development standards to accommodate the proposed use on site in the table that is in your staff report. We are requesting that the front setback be 30 feet. This is because of the platted setback that is already existing. And the maximum height, they did not specify, but we are requesting it's 21 feet. And the logic behind that is that it is considered an accessory structure. It is accessory to the existing church and school. And when we look at most accessory structures within SF5 zoning, accessory structures have a maximum height of 21 feet. The applicant is requesting to allow signage per the standards and regulations set forth in the OW Office Warehouse District. Because it's already surrounded by single-family zoning, we're not so much concerned about illuminated building signage, off-site signs, billboard signs, because they're already not allowed near single-family zoning. The character of the neighborhood is residential. Properties to the north, east, and west are zoned single-family and developed with single-family residences. To the south, it is owned by the applicant and developed with a church. There are no zoning cases associated with this property. The site has access to North Amadon Avenue, which is a 4-lane arterial street with sidewalks on each side. The site has access to municipal services and utilities, and Wichita Transit stops 1/10 of a mile from the subject site on the northeast corner of West 29th and North Amadon. The requested zone change is in partial conformance with the community investment plan, namely the future growth concept map. It identifies the area to be appropriate for residential uses. So the applicant is proposing a use that is classified in the zoning code as industrial, which is not appropriate within this category. However, we are recommending additional provisions, so the landscaping, screening, development standards that should ensure compatibility between the residential and non-residential uses. The plan's locational guidelines, which provide a decision-making framework regarding land use changes. One of them states that except in mixed use and development, residential and non-residential development areas generally should be separate and distinct with appropriate screening and buffering to ensure compatibility among land uses while maintaining connectivity between uses. Staff is recommending approval of the application, subject to the provisions of the St. Jude Food Bank Planned Unit Development and the conditions listed in your staff report. So that includes a parking agreement, having the food bank be ancillary to a place of worship or school. In accordance with the PUD language, they have to register record a PUD certificate with the Register of Deeds, and they have to submit 4 copies of the approved PUD to the Planning Department within 16 days of the governing body approval. So this recommendation is based on the golden factors, which are listed in your staff report. The only comment that I've received is also included in your staff report. There were concerns for traffic. There was also concerns for screening on the rear side of the property because it abuts single-family zoning there. And with that, I will go to the site photos. This is looking east towards the site. Next slide, please. This is looking north away from the site. I mentioned that they have the solid screening there already. Next slide, please. This is looking south away from the site. You can see the associated buildings with the place of worship and school. Next slide, please. This is looking west away from the site towards single-family dwellings. Next slide, please. And with that, I will stand for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Commissioner Aldrich.
Yeah, Christina, we don't have a site plan per se on this, so my question is this going to be open up to the general public, or is it going to be strictly used for a warehouse type?
So we are anticipating that the warehousing or the food bank is ancillary to the church or school. That is a condition of approval that we put it within the PUD. I will defer to the applicant as to how the food bank is accessed or distributed to folks.
Okay, the other question I had was regarding parking. Assuming that access and the parking would be on the southeast portion, just east of the rectory, would that be correct in assuming that?
Yes, that was our assumption as well.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Christina? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll now ask the applicant agent to come forward, give us your name and address for the record and your role in the case.
Good afternoon. Rebecca Melius, PEC 303 South Topeka, agent for the applicant. I will keep myself brief because I know there was no one else here concerned with this, and very, very small provision changes that we're going to be requesting. Very grateful for Christina's effort and her review today. So first and foremost, this is an ancillary structure. The food bank has currently, for the last 40 years, actually been operating out of the rectory. Residents on Monday mornings have the opportunity to come and they file through the parking lot. And you saw in the staff report the queuing that happens through the parking lot. They come through, drive through, and out. And that is, as I'm sure you can imagine, with the challenges that are happening in our society right now, an abundant need. And so when the property came for sale a few years ago, the diocese took the opportunity to jump at that, to look for the opportunity to build a freestanding structure to expand those services and better serve the community. So the hope is, and Bob, I apologize, you should have, we have a very rough site plan kind of laid out at this point, but our hope was to get through this before refining that. Our goal is to keep all three of these amazing trees. They are beautiful. We don't want to take them down. They are a huge attribute to the community, so we're not looking to modify those. We are anticipating access would come through the church parking lot, through the site, and out the existing access drive. We will not be modifying those drive approaches. If you look at the historical area, there was a house that was sitting right at that 30-foot setback. It had a circle drive. We will mirror that, with the understanding that that north drive is going to be primarily for those box truck deliveries. So there will be an overhead door there on the west side for the deliveries in, and then the distribution pieces that would happen there on the south side is through the drive-through. So with that in mind, obviously, maybe not so obviously, the number one question or desire is that 21-foot restriction be increased to 25. Our structure is going to be really close. We could probably make the 21 work, but if you would consider it, the allowed maximum height within single family is 35 feet. We're comfortable being considered an ancillary structure. If we could see that to be 25, that would be our desire there, if you would consider that. The other piece that we would like to just clarify is in the screening provisions, because there are existing fences, and because this is a major capital project, we would just request that the language be changed, that screening shall be required if the existing screening becomes insufficient. Because I don't really want to double up fences on that piece. We are happy to fill in the gap, and put a fence in to provide the screening, which supports the public comment that was provided. And we believe we can meet other screening standards that way. The other portion of the provision that we would love to see modified, as I'm sure many of you are aware, maintenance is a continual challenge. So the proposition is that this was intended to be a metal structure, a prefabricated metal building. We're working with them. We had intended that the west facade, the street-facing facade, would be broken with a wainscot so that it had some aesthetic appeal from the curb. But our desire would be that the language could potentially be changed, that the west and south facing facades meet that 25% metal, but the north and east could be metal so long as adequate screening is provided. Other than that, we're in agreement with all the other staff comments. We're comfortable with meeting landscaping code. Again, we have that big, beautiful tree, so we're going to keep it. We'll add some of the shrubbery to be in conformance. We're comfortable with parking, either providing on site, which I think we can make work, or providing an agreement to support that. So I'm happy to answer any other questions that might come up.
Commissioner Aldrich.
Regarding the north fencing right there, is that the church property? Are they the owners of that? Or
No.
That's the owners?
It is, yeah, it's the residential property to the north that currently owns it.
And did I hear you right saying that she would take care of the maintenance as required?
No, no, sir. Our proposition is we would provide proper screening in the areas where it's not there. If there was such time that the screening currently provided by that residential property was to go away, we would extend the fence out to Amidon instead. Meaning, if they didn't want to put theirs back up, we would then we would be responsible to make that screening be replaced on our side, not on theirs.
Okay, thank you.
So one more time, the proposed traffic flow for this.
Yep.
For the food bank itself.
So they'll come in off of Amidon, either here between the church and the rectory, or even further south. They queue in the parking lot currently, so that queue would still occur, but then it's gonna come up here. We are proposing that pavement will be clear of this tree, so they're gonna come around that tree and then be on the south side of the property where they can do food pickup from the building, and then they would come out Amidon.
And so staff is recommending screening on that east and north side along that. But you're saying that any gaps you would fill?
So right now, there is an existing fence that goes till this property line.
Right?
I would rather not add an extra 600 foot of fence right now if I don't have to. Just from an overall budgetary perspective, our proposal would be, now we're gonna have a gap around that. I don't know, we'll have to figure out what to do with the fence around the tree, because the tree is on our side, but that fence would, yes, extend there on the north. And then if inadequate screening was on the east side, provide the screening there as well.
And the exterior building material of metal, you're saying all metal on the north and east side?
Yes,
That
sir.
you're requesting?
Yes, sir. So we're happy to add the provision so long as that adequate screening is provided. Our goal is this is gonna be a nice, I understand metal buildings have a negative connotation. Our intent is not for this to stand out. It is intended to blend in with the church property as a whole. If you have driven on Amidon recently, there was a PUD that was approved in 2024 for the business that recently finished their construction. And it stands out like a sore thumb, to be honest, right now within a residential area as white siding, very bright, very new and fancy. That's not our intent. We have a nice tucked away, we're gonna blend in. It's gonna be a nice facility. Just trying to balance both initial costs, but also long-term maintenance costs associated with the project.
Any other questions from the commission? Seeing none, thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Is there anyone from the public who would like to comment on this case? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the commission for discussion and consideration. Anyone care to make a motion? Figure this out? Real quick, I do have a question for staff. I know there was a formula for why the 21 feet was part of the provision. Could you address that, please?
Yeah, so the reason 21 feet was used is if a accessory structure wants to be closer to side and rear property lines, and in this case it would be closer than 6 feet to the side property line and closer than 5 feet to the rear property line, the height is limited to 60% of the zoning district. So 60% of 35 feet is 21. Their proposed setbacks of 3 feet along the side and 5 feet on the rear, that 3 foot setback along that north side is where we got that 21 feet from. I don't know if you can.
Can I add a concession that we can change the setbacks if that appeases or balances out that calculation? There is no objection to increasing the side setbacks back to the 6 foot standard. At the time of the application, there was a lot of unknowns about where exactly that building was gonna fit. As that has been solidified, it is unlikely that we're gonna be that close. And so if that provides a level of comfort in supporting an increased height, we would be happy to show an increase in that side yard setback.
Okay.
Okay, but overall, just to clarify, that 21 wasn't arbitrary, like it is something that's in the code that we went with because of the proposed setback. But as the agent just mentioned, if the board wanted to consider a higher height to the building, they're apparently willing to have a 6 foot setback along the side, which would be the north side.
Okay. Commissioner Bill Johnson.
In other words, that height could be established once they had a site plan, determine how far it's off the property line. So it could go to 25 foot, it could go to 27 foot, it could go whatever. I just assumed if we make a motion, we put it in there like that rather than pin it to 25 feet.
Sounds like you're got the basis of a motion.
Well, since I'm getting metal building bad mouth, I'm afraid to make a motion. No, I move to approve with the understanding that it can be higher if they move it farther off the property line.
Would that include the other
Request by the applicant.
request by the applicant?
Yes.
I will second that.
Okay, just for review of the motion and kind of for the record, so it sounds like Mr. Bill Johnson's motion was to move to approve, subject to staff recommendations with the following modifications. That the building could be 25 feet, so that long as the side setback is 6 feet. That they can apply screening to where the gaps are when there's an existing fence.
Yes.
And that the south and west facades could have only 25% metal, but the east and north facades could be full metal as long as screening is there. Did I get all of them? Okay, we're getting nod that we checked all the
I
boxes.
almost
So.
wanted to make 100% metal on all four sides, but
Okay, so wanted to just state that all for the record and so
Right.
that the commission knew
Right, and
what they were and you're okay
second
with
still
that?
holds?
Sure.
Yes.
We have a question by Commissioner Miles.
So I just want to make sure that I'm clear. So other than the adjustments that were mentioned, the other things that are mentioned in red here, we are approving those as well.
That is correct. They were in
Okay.
agreement with staff comment. They just wanted those
Okay.
specific adjustments.
Thank you.
All right, so we're all clear on the motion and the second. We're good? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. We got through the metal building one. Next item.
Yes, thank you. Once again, Brad Etherly, MAPD. We are now discussing case ZON 2025-00054. For this case, the applicant is requesting a zone change from SF20 Single Family Residential District to MF29 Multifamily Residential District. The applicant is requesting a protective overlay, number 468. This is a 44-acre property that is generally located on the southwest corner of North Broadway Avenue and East 69th Street North. And right now, the site is currently in use as agricultural. The applicant has indicated that they intend to use the site for a residential development. Once again, the applicant is requesting a PO be included in the zone change that would limit the types of uses to residential. It would also limit the percentage of types of housing, which is listed in the staff report. It also states that any of those percentages, except for single-family dwellings, could be increased by up to 25%. So for example, 10% that is in the MF29 could be increased to 12.5%, or the 35% for duplexes could be increased to 43.75%. Staff believes that the PO is not necessary at this location. We'll get into the locational guidelines of the community investments plan a little bit further, but they suggest that the subject area is appropriate for higher density residential to buffer the single family residential districts to the south and west from the commercial and industrial districts to the north and northeast. And essentially a PO is designed to restrict and not kind of dictate certain land uses. If that were something that the developer / owner wanted to work out, they could on their own terms. Should the zone change request be approved, there would be an increase in permitted uses on site, such as two-family and multifamily residential development at a maximum density of 29 dwelling units per acre. The requested zone change would also alter requirements for setbacks, lot size, lot width, and maximum height, and that is shown in the table in the report. Any use other than single family or duplex would be required to establish solid screening when within, abutting, or across a street from residential zoning districts. No landscape buffers would be required because the subject site is currently in unincorporated Sedgwick County. Compatibility height standards state that no structure shall exceed 35 feet in height when within 50 feet of the lot line of property zone TF3 or more restrictive. The proposed MF29 zone site abuts and is adjacent to SF20 district on the west property lines and RR zoning to the north across West 69th Street. The subject site also abuts single-family residential zoning in the city of Park City to the south and east. Compatibility setbacks would apply to all uses would apply to all uses in the MF18 district or less restrictive basic zoning when such uses are located on zoning lots within 500 feet of property zone TF3 or more restrictive. So compatibility standards for setbacks would only apply to rear and side lot lines adjacent to property zone TF3 or more restrictive. So in this case, all uses within the subject property would need to comply with compatibility setback standards on all sides of the property except for the northeast where the subject site abuts commercial property, which is also located in the city of Park City. If we can, we're in the zoning map. The character of the neighborhood is a mix between residential, commercial, industrial, and agricultural. Property to the north across East 69th Street is zoned RR and is developed with agricultural uses. Property to the northeast is within the city limits of Park City, is zoned C2 service business, and is developed with agricultural uses. Property further to the northeast across the intersection of North Broadway and East 69th Street is within the city limits of Park City. It is zoned I1 light industrial and is developed with the Amazon.com distribution center. Properties to the east across North Broadway Avenue are within the city limits of Park City and are zoned R1 single family residential and are developed with single family dwellings and agricultural use. Property to the south is within the city limits of Park City, is zoned R2 single family residential and is developed with agricultural uses. Property to the west is zoned SF20, is owned by Sedgwick County and is used as a drainage ditch. As far as case history, the site is currently unplatting and platting would be required prior to development. There are no other zoning cases associated with the property. The subject site has access to East 69th Street North and North Broadway Avenue. The applicant does indicate that they intend to utilize Park City municipal services, which will require annexation into Park City in a future time. If we can go to the future growth map, look at the plans and policies, the requested zone change is in conformance with the plan. The Community Investments Plan, which identifies the site to be appropriate for small city urban growth area. This site is within the Park City urban growth area, so staff did review the Park City Comprehensive Development Plan to identify the future land use of the site, and that is recommends to be used as residential and commercial. The locational guidelines under the heading of Development Pattern, Guideline 1E, states that higher density residential uses and neighborhood serving retail and office uses should buffer lower density residential uses from major commercial and employment centers and industrial uses. So for this case, the proposed residential development includes a large portion of multifamily development, which allows for higher density residential to buffer the single family zone properties to the south and west from the property to the north, which is identified as being appropriate for light industrial in the future land use map for the city of Park City and the Amazon distribution center northeast of the subject site. Staff feels that, again, the PO language is not needed because the higher density residential should be promoted at this location based on the locational guidelines. If we can go to the site pics. Oh, and I'll also state the city of Park City's planning department decided to not hear this case. It will have to go to their planning commission for a zone change when it gets annexed into the city of Park City. So this is looking east into the site, kind of from the drainage ditch. Next picture. This is looking south from 69th. Next picture. This is looking west into the site from Broadway. Next picture. This is looking north across 69th, away from, next picture. This is looking northeast at the Amazon facility, next picture. This is looking east across Broadway, next picture. Another picture looking east across Broadway, next picture. And this is looking west away from the site, from the drainage ditch area. I believe that's it, yes. Planning staff does recommend approval of the request without the addition of the PO. And we did receive one public comment in the form of an email, which has been placed in front of you. And with that, I can stand for any questions.
Thank you, Brad. Any questions from the commission? Seeing none, thank you. I will now ask the applicant agent to come forward, give us your name and address and your role in the case.
Thank you. Kim Edgington, PSC Consulting, 2532 North Cardinal Drive, Wichita, Kansas, agent representing the applicant. We are in agreement with all of staff comments. I believe this may be the first instance that I can ever recall that staff is recommending something less restrictive than what we as the applicant proposed. So that was an interesting turnabout. We had set up the protective overlay just as a means to kind of ensure that the entire property was not developed in high density residential, because that is not our intent. But you know, we agree with staff that the plans for this property do show it as appropriate for high density residential. We have been working with the administrator at Park City, Sean Fox, for quite some time. They are actually very excited about this project, have a huge need for housing in the area, so they are welcoming of this project. So this is just kind of step one, because it will be annexed into the city of Park City, and then we will go through this zone change again, and platting on down the line, because we will be getting all of our services from the city of Park City. But I would be glad to stand for any questions that you might have. I am not aware, we were not given it wasn't distributed to us, any of the opposition, so I apologize that I am not able to address that, because I'm not aware of the nature of that.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the agent? Seeing none, thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
Now this is public comment. Is there anyone still here that want to comment on this case? Yes, ma'am. Please go to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. You'll have up to 3 minutes.
My name is Nancy Hunter. I own with a cousin 200 acres north of 69th and Broadway. We have agricultural at 69th and Broadway. There is a flood zone. I have dealt with, since the Amazon went in, with major flooding on my property, which is agricultural, which is hard for my farmer to work with that corner there. The drainage to the ditch does not drain from the Amazon. It comes under the road. They burn under the road, and it goes into the ditch on that side of the property, the south side of the property, and it sits there, and it sits there. I have sent pictures to Scott Langton. I've talked to Public Works. I was told that this would be an issue that would be resolved. That was 2 years ago. I complained last year. I have complained this year. The applicant put in a berm. When he put that berm in, it got worse. Then it flowed even further down on my property into my agricultural field.
Just be clear, you're talking about not this applicant.
Yes, this applicant.
Okay.
Yes. Stephen, Sharon, Simon.
Okay. For this property?
He did, yeah, for yes.
The property in question?
proposed- Yes.
Okay.
He did not require the correct permits to have the berm put in. He either had to pay the fine or have the berm removed. He removed the berm. So we still have a flood issue here. Granted, this property has been in my family since the late 1800s, early 1900s. I am the fourth, and my daughter is the fifth generation to live on this property. It has always been farmed. My concerns are when they go in to develop this, they will raise that. And I will be down here and I will still have the same issues. My issues haven't been resolved yet. I'm still fighting with that. I did get a permit through you guys to put a berm up on that corner. And I have not done it yet because we've had so much rain and so much drainage into there. We finally got our soybeans cut, and we're going to apply that berm to keep the water off the property. I do not want anything across the street from me. I don't want to look at a duplex or an apartment or a trailer park. But I suppose my hands are tied on that, but I would like for the flood and drainage issue to be addressed. And I will continue to fight this if it's not fixed correctly, and they do build on it. The Amazon created more traffic, more trash. I have to mow my ditches. Their trucks leave ruts yay deep in my ditches. It's a nightmare.
Okay, ma'am, you've used your time up. Just to be clear, can you show me using the mouse, your property, is it directly north of 69?
Right here. Yes, all of this.
It's all yours, okay.
Yes, 200 acres to the 81 Speedway.
Okay. We
And
have a
this is the drainage issue right here in this corner, right
Got
here.
it. We have a question from Commissioner Aldrich.
On your drainage issues, have you contacted the county or the city on that? Because I think that's a county road, isn't it?
69th and Broadway. I went to the Department of Agriculture to get a berm permit, and they said that I didn't need that big of a berm, so they sent me to here. And this is where I ended up with a berm permit, that it's only gonna be.
Okay, ma'am, my
so high.
question had to do with the drainage ditch itself. Is that the responsibility of you, or is that the responsibility of the county, being a county road?
As far as I know, it's been told, I feel that it's my responsibility. That's the way it has been proposed to me, that I take care of the issue, as long as I'm within the easements.
Okay, thank you.
Looks like it's Sedgwick County. Yeah. Mr. Wadle, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
We still have, you can answer Bob's question before the rebuttal? Okay.
I was just going to mention that looking at GIS, it looks like 69th Street is in fact a county responsibility up until you get to Broadway. And then when it gets to the Broadway intersection, it looks like it's been annexed.
Into Park City.
It's tough to tell from GIS. It has been annexed by a city. I can't necessarily confirm, but I believe it would be Park City.
Okay, thank you. We'll ask the applicant to return to the podium for rebuttal. You'll have up to 2 minutes.
Thank you. There clearly are some drainage issues, as evidenced by the fact that the client did construct a berm because there are issues along 69th Street, and that is to be maintained by the county, and it's not being done. So when this goes through plating, there's going to have to be a lot of work done to determine exactly what's going on, because since the construction of the Amazon facility, it definitely has impacted both the neighboring property owners and our property. So that will yet to be determined when we go through the drainage plan process and approval through the city of Park City. I will be glad to answer any of the other questions that you may have.
Seeing none. Oh, wait, Commissioner Zimbelman.
Being chairman of the subdivision committee, as you know, one of the big problems we have, or the big hangups, are the site plans on these development. It seems like better than 50% of the time, the thing is all ready to go, but nobody has a site plan approved. What is the reason why it has to be so late every time?
As far as, well, I mean, first we have to even do a plat. I mean, we've got to figure out the layout of the lots and the, you know, the ratio and configuration of multifamily versus single family. The eventual developer of this, which is not going to be Steve and Cheryl Simon that own the property now, is, you know, indicates that there's probably going to be more of a ratio of single-family homes versus the multifamily. But once that's decided, then we will have the plat. And that's, you know, and this is just kind of step one. So unfortunately, you're right. I mean, we don't have a good site plan because this is so early in the planning stages right now. But we certainly do recognize the fact that there are drainage. I mean, when I went out to post the signs, the required signs, I could not get to the property because the ditches were so filled with mud. And I mean, I found one place that I could cross. Fortunately, I had my big mud boots on that day, that I could cross over off of Broadway and then come across the property, you know, come from the south to get along 69th Street to a place to post that sign. So we definitely do recognize that there are certainly some issues there that have to be dealt with. I know that doesn't exactly answer your question. I mean, we just don't have a site plan yet. We just, you know, especially given the fact that we, as the current property owners, are not going to be the final developers. We have a contractual obligation to get the property zoned in order for that process to move forward.
Okay. No more questions. Thank you. We'll return it to the commission for consideration, action.
Mr. Chairman, move to approve for staff comments.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Bill Johnson with the second by Commissioner Zembelman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. I know we have item 411 scheduled to hear, but I don't believe the person that wanted to hear it is still here. So with that being, yes.
So just
Scott?
a little bit more to that. I spoke with that individual after the subdivision item and reminded him specifically that there was a zoning item. He indicated he was not concerned about the change in zoning.
Okay. So with that being said, I move we approve per staff conditions. Motion to approve with the second by Commissioner Miles. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved to deny, all opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Just a couple of quick announcements. One, we received word today that Commissioner Nix is retiring from the MAPC, effective immediately. Just, he's got some health issues and just too difficult for him to make the meetings. So keep him in your thoughts and prayers. With that, that brings our Advanced Plans Committee down a person. And today we exercised the ability to use an alternate. I don't know if it says it specifically in the bylaws that we have to have an alternate, but it's something that we'd like to do going forward to identify an alternate position for that. Ideally, whoever replaces Commissioner Nix will be the first person on the Advanced Plans Committee, but going forward, we'll set up a process to identify an alternate for the Advanced Plans Committee. Number three, as part of the Advanced Plans Committee today, we heard from Scott that year-to-date, we have had an all-time record in non-subdivision cases, as well as, we're on the verge of all-time records, as well as subdivision cases. So by the next meeting, we should probably blow the doors on that. So I just want to thank staff for your work on a very trying year with all the additional work, so appreciate that. And then finally, you should have at each one of your stations the 26 calendar for meetings, as well as subdivision. There are a couple of instances where there are 3 weeks between meetings. Just be aware, try to juggle between the holidays, et cetera. So with that, no other comments, I'll motion to adjourn.
They did, thank you.
Recording stopped.
Okay.